Hello and welcome to the True Metal Podcast. I'm your host Matthew Kessie and you're very welcome to this week's edition of the True Metal Rewind. This week we go back to our special on Tim Tronckoe's portrait collection. We talk to the man himself, Tim Tronckoe, and also to two of the featured artists in that collection in Charlotte Wessels of Delain and also Agnete Kjolsrud of Djerv. If you stick around to the end of this special, you will also get to hear a teaser from MonSTARS of Rock, the LORDI Story. This week's teaser features one of the original founding members of the band, Amen-Ra. So please stick around for that. But for now, here is the Tim Tronckoe special.
Well, I got into photography when I was, I was about 16 years old when I attended my first concert. It was quite late, actually. But I just took a camera to my first concert, and I like crappy pictures when I look back to it now.
Yeah.
I hate the pictures, and at the time I quite liked what I was doing. Right. So I was just like, why not improve in this? Why not make this something that I want to pick up and just something that I want to do? So the next concert that I did, the smaller concert, I just took a better camera to those concerts. I was able to snap a couple of pictures, send them to the band, their management, and they quite liked it. So whenever I was at another show, they allowed me to shoot some more pictures of that show.
Okay.
And it was only a couple of years later that I also wanted to know what was going on behind the stage, and I wanted to shoot portraits of those performing artists more exclusively, because if you look at all the live pictures, when there are 10 photographers at a live show, we all capture the same moment in our different style maybe. But I just wanted to capture a moment that nobody else could capture at that time. So I just reached out to a couple of those bands, and they allowed me backstage to shoot some portraits just before they went on stage. And gradually I got to know a couple of people in the music business, a couple of managers, a couple of people who were representing a record company, and they gave me a lot of opportunities to shoot for the record company, for the bands, for new albums and so on. So that's, of course, they all knew somebody who was a bit more important in the music business. Yeah. So that's how I gradually climbed up the ladder and got to know a lot of bands, a lot of managers. So that helped me a lot to start the project that I just released now.
Okay, and how did you obviously get into heavy metal? Because everyone always has like a story of how they got into the music. How did you find yourself being a metalhead? Yeah,
well, I was just really intrigued with the dark side of everything, because the first thing I saw when I saw it was, I don't remember who it was, but I saw this band on MTV, I think, and I was really intrigued with how dark it was and how visual it was and how I could relate to the lyrics as well. And it was mainly the visual part of the videos and the dark elements of the lyrics and of the sound that really got me into heavy metal, because I like all kinds of music. I started off as a fan of pop music, and then I went into heavy metal because of the darkness and the mystery, the mysterious vibe around it. And even now, I'm still listening to all kinds of music. I've always listened to like classical music, operas, arias, and stuff like that. And also film music, pop music, and heavy metal. But it was mainly that dark element that really appealed to me.
Okay, and then do you find that, obviously having an interest in the dark element, do you find that sort of transferring over into how you shoot different and set up different shoots?
Yeah, that's correct. Like what you said, like when the bands that I like most to take pictures of, like when you go to the portraits, like not just the book, but just the photo shoots that I do. Yeah, I always love the bands that are a bit more theatrical and that bring that drama and that dark vibe. Even if it's a very cheerful band, but they still have that drama, even if they're melodic, but they have this darkness, this drama over them. It helps me in creating a certain vibe for the pictures, because I really love to work with that. Yeah. Like when I did the recent Powerwolf photo shoot, they just gave me carte blanche. They were like, okay, so here's the contact, you can do whatever you want with it. And I was able to introduce some themes of like Faust in there. I was able to make some beautiful religious scenes and to add some religious scenes in there as well. Not really religious, but really this painterly effect. And that's what I really like to do. Also for Nightwish, sometimes they even want very modern pictures, but I always try to take their music, take what they want, but still put my own style, which is a little dark, a little dramatic. I just try to put that in that image as well.
Cool. And I guess for me anyway, when I was looking through some of the different people that you've worked with, one that stands out to me that was sort of like the edge towards the theatrical element is LORDI. And I guess...
Yes, LORDI, of course.
Yeah, so how did that shoot come about? Was that easier to do than others?
Yeah, I don't really know the guys or LORDI very well, but I know his manager quite well. So I was like, I saw that they were coming to, they were in the area, and at first I thought they were going to be in the area. I was like, how could I possibly add LORDI to this book, to this project? Because he is very theatrical already. I could not like portray him as a baroque, as a king or whatever. But I was just like, okay, I'm just going to, like I did for a couple of artists, where it was more hard and more difficult because they have this certain image which is very hard to overcome. I just took him as he is, and I just shot a picture in 2 minutes, I think, and I just shot him in this very dark, Rembrandt-like light. I was like, if I could do that, I just have him as he is, in this very dark light, in this Rembrandt light, which is going to be perfect for the book. And in the end, I first was going to have about 10 minutes with him, and then he was running a bit late, and the intro of the show had almost started when we only started taking the pictures. So they told me, like, okay, Tim, you have 4 minutes to take the picture. And in the end, I just needed 1 minute because I just told him how I wanted him to look, where he had to look at, how he had to be a little bit in profile. And I had the picture, I think, in about a minute or something like that.
Very cool. Okay, so you're under pressure a lot then for that one then.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you just have to be very quick. For some photo shoots, I had 1 full day. For instance, with Elisa from Arch Enemy, Simone from Epica, with Tarja, we could spend 1 full day from 9 in the morning till 7 at night shooting.
Nice.
But for some artists, that just wasn't the case, and I also didn't want that. I wanted some artists just in their stage outfit with just this small element, be it being the light or just this rough Renaissance color or just the painterly effects. So I wanted to make a good variation in those kinds of pictures.
Okay. Cool. And when you look back at your back catalogue and when you go onto your website and look in like previous shoots that you've done, the one that really stands out as being sort of, to me, that would probably push you from being working around clubs to actually getting to know these bands is Slayer. So how did that working with them come about, and how was the experience working with the band?
Yeah, it was really cool because it was just after the new lineup change, of course.
Yeah.
When Gary Holt and Paul Bostaph went into the band, and so they were doing a European tour, and all of a sudden, apparently, they realized that they were going to announce new festivals, new shows, new tours. They were going to do new interviews, but they didn't have pictures of the current lineup. So because they were in Europe, their manager, so lovely, I had already known her when I was working with Ghost. She just reached out to a couple of promoters of all the shows that they were currently doing in Europe, asking, like, could you just forward me a couple of names of good photographers who could take the new Slayer pictures? And they weren't really coming to Belgium because I'm from Belgium, but they had a show in the Netherlands, not too far from where I live.
Nice.
And the promoter just sent in my name, and he told me, look, I just sent in your name, and we'll see what happens, because I have no clue about the question. He just informed me, like, I just got this email, and they asked me to give them a name of a photographer, so I just gave them your name. I was like, okay, cool, we'll just see what happens. And then in the end, I got the phone call from Slayer's manager asking me, hey Tim, we just had a look at we had another look at your portfolio, and actually we think you would be perfect to take these pictures. Could you come to the show? And you would probably have 15 minutes just before the show to take those pictures. So we arranged it, so we discussed that, we went through a couple of things that they needed. I just went to the show, and normally we were going to have 15 minutes for the pictures. in the end, we only had 5 or 10 minutes for the pictures, which was totally cool because I was prepared. I knew what I wanted. I had set up my lights right next to the stage. We took the pictures, and that was it. Voila.
Okay, very cool. So you're definitely used to the pressure then, from the looks of things.
Yeah, indeed.
And obviously with this new exhibition and with the book coming up called Portraits, for people who don't know what the collection is, could you tell us what it is and what made you come up with the concept behind the Old Masters theme as well?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's about 3 years ago. I've been working on this for 3 years. So back then, in 2016, I'm a very big fan of classic art, also modern art, but art was definitely classical art and going to museums. Whenever I can go to a museum, I will go to a museum. And I was just walking through a temporary exhibition in my hometown of Ghent, and I saw all these portraits of all these noblemen and all these kings and queens, and all of a sudden the idea dawned on me, like, hey Tim, you have all these contacts, all these friends in music, and you love these works. How cool would it be to just combine the two? It has been done already, but I don't think it's ever been done in this genre of music. So I just started off like, okay, how am I going to do this? The first thing I did was, okay, I'm going to do this. Who do I want in this project? I made a list of everyone that I wanted in there, and in the end, now I see that most of them are actually in the project, which is quite unreal. But at the time, I saw that Steel Panther and Alter Bridge were coming to Belgium in a month or two. So I knew Michael Starr from Steel Panther, and I know Miles Kennedy is very well as well. So I just sent him an email, and when I asked them, hey, would you be interested in doing this? I cannot show you any pictures of what exactly I want because you're the first one I'm going to take pictures of for this. But would you be up for this? And Miles Kennedy and Michael Starr, they were the first ones to immediately welcome the idea, and they went like, hey Tim, just come to the show and let's take those pictures right before showtime. Just talk us through it a bit. So that was that. Everything was sorted. So I went to those shows. I introduced them to the idea. We shot the pictures. I edited the pictures when I got home. After I just left them there for 2 days. I had to look at them again. I still love them because that's what I always do. I never immediately send out a picture. I always let them rest a bit, and then I take a look at them again, and then I send them out to the model, to the talent. So I sent them out to their management and to Michael and to Miles as well, and they immediately loved it. And they were like, "Oh my God, Tim, this is if you're going to release this in a couple of years, if you get enough artists for this is going to be huge." And I was like, "Yeah, right. We'll see how far we can bring this." But it was really cool to have such positive feedback already, because as an artist, as a band, I know that you have your image. You've worked so hard and so long to create your image, and then this young photographer, I was 25 at the time, I think, shows up, is like, hey, I want to change your image to something I have in mind, which is a risk, of course, both for me, but definitely also for the artist. So it takes it takes a good relationship with the artist first, and a lot of trust, of course.
Right. And there are a lot of, in the pictures and all that that you've taken, are all of them in costumes, or are all of them in sort of a variation of their own design or their own outfits?
Yeah, it's a variation. So when I only had about 5 or 10 minutes for the pictures, I could not go for a full outfit. So what did I do? I just asked them to wear a certain stage outfit of their own choice, mostly black because that works best, of course. And then I just had a couple of Renaissance or Baroque colors ruffs designed, and I just brought a couple of them to the show, and we just would go through a very short fitting to see which one worked best for them. For instance, so Michael Starr was one of the first. I just showed him 3 sizes of rough colors, and he was like, oh, the big one. I'll definitely go for the big one. And it worked so well. Whereas, for instance, we had, let me give you an example, for instance, Tarja Turunen. Yeah. We flew to Spain, to Marbella, where she lives nowadays, to do the pictures there, because she was very busy working on her new Christmas album and stuff like that. So she didn't really have the time to come to Belgium for this, so I told her, no big deal, we'll just arrange everything in Spain and we'll just fly to you. And she was in full outfit, so we had somebody here in Belgium take her measurements. So we met to get her measurements correctly, and we had the outfit, the Anne Boleyn outfit, completely designed to her measurements, which took a couple of months. So the whole preparations for this shoot took about 5-6 months. So that outfit I really wanted that to be in full outfit without losing her own personality. I still wanted people to see that it was actually Tarja. So she was actually already wearing her white nails for the next day, because then we were going to shoot her album pictures for her album.
Nice.
And she was like, "Oh, Tim, shit, my nails are done already. What should I do now?" I was like, "No, it's totally fine like that, because I want this modern element of you in that picture, which makes it more interesting." Like some of the artists, like Chris from Motionless in White, he has his lip piercings in the pictures. He's wearing this rough collar. It's a very, very classical, very static picture, but still you see that he has his piercings and his makeup, which is even more intriguing and more fascinating, I think. And I was really, I told him, like, I want you to wear your stage makeup and everything like you just would go on stage, because that works best for you.
Yeah.
So I just like the variation of the two styles.
Okay, and obviously it makes it a little bit easier for people then as well, because they can easily identify who it is then.
Yeah, indeed, true. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, that's cool. So, obviously the catalogue of artists that are included it's unbelievable when you look at the names. Like it's a who's who of heavy metal, really, especially modern metal. So, is there any particular artist to you that stands out as your favourite that you haven't mentioned yet?
Yeah, my favourite is actually I think most people she considers herself the least well known in the book, is Agnete from Djerv. She used to be an Animal Alpha, did a song with Dimmu Borgir, but she is actually on her own, and in her band Djerv, she is a really, really cool singer. And we had never worked together. And actually, her photo shoot was one of my favorite photo shoots of the whole project. She's from Norway, so I just approached her husband, who's also the band manager, and I explained the idea to him, and he was like, "Okay, I'll ask Agnete, and we'll come back to you." And it was him and Agnete who came back to me, asking me a couple of further questions, and after 2 days, I think, they were like, "Okay, we're going to do this." So we flew her over to Belgium, and when we were taking the picture, she gave us something so unbelievable. I had never seen, like, because it's still artists and they're not models, so it's always my task to get the best out of them, because I need to pose them the best way possible. She gave me something that I had never seen before with any other artist. You can also see it in the pictures when you get the book later. It's so expressive, so emotional, both with her expressions, with her face, with her body, and with everything. She was so expressive in the picture. She gave us so much. It was, I felt like I didn't have to do anything. I just had to get the light right and just push the button. I didn't need to tell her anything. Nice. So that was really my all-time favorite of this book. And I told her, because she always underestimates herself. She's like, people have forgotten about us because we're not really making any music, but we're coming back. But she was very worried about that. People will not know me anymore. Okay. But I was like, I need to listen to me. People will still know you, and I will make sure with this book that they know who you are and what you stand for. And I think we did a very good job on that. Definitely, she did a very good job.
And obviously, like, I think I've seen her photo shoots as well from the the trailers that you have up online as well, and like the makeup and all that on it. It's very unique the way she's shot in it as well. So it's very impressive.
True.
Yeah.
We had a very good makeup artist and hair artist there, and it's always very interesting because I always want the ideas to come from both Agnete, from the artist, like all the artists, and myself, and then we always find a good combination. But I had a very clear idea for her, and she was very open to it.
Oh, cool. And obviously this is going to be part of the book, but there's also an exhibition taking place as well. So what can people expect from the exhibition?
Well, the exhibition starts the 28th of September, and it's only 2 weeks, so the last day will be the 12th of October. And it will actually be it's going to be a big exhibition. It's going to be full of life-size pictures taken from the project, but not necessarily all from the book.
Okay.
So the book will have all these artists and all these portraits, but it's very well possible. I still need to select all the images. I'm probably going to do that next week or so. And for instance, the images from Simone from Epica or Sharon from Within Temptation or from Slayer or from Ghost might be different from the book than in the exhibition.
Right.
So it's always interesting because if you want to see the whole package, actually, you have to get the book and see the exhibition. But of course, it's only going to be 2 weeks, so the book gives a very good representation of the project. But to get the full package, it's actually the both of them. And it's the exhibition takes place in Ghent, which is my hometown, where I've also shot plenty of the artists like Alisa, Agnete. They were all Simone. They were all photographed in my own city. So it's also really cool to have the exhibition in an old chapel, which is going to be decorated in a very modern way with all the pictures. So that's going to be very, 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 very cool.
Cool. And when the portrait book does come out, what can people expect from that? What's the book going to look like, and where can people get one if they want to?
Well, the book is the main idea for the book was I don't want to make it another metal book, because all the bands are now making books and stuff like that, and that's really has more metal look, and I didn't want that. I didn't want to add a picture on the cover as well, because that would be choosing one of my babies, and I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make it an artistic looking book, which you could perfectly see in any art bookshop. So it's going to be a big coffee table size book. It's going to be big. I don't know the correct dimensions by heart, but it's big. And it's going to be 180 pages. The foreword, the preface has been written by Alisa. She's done a really cool job. It's really interesting. She's a student in art history, and she really portrays that. She reflects that into her the foreword that she's written.
Okay.
And it's going to be a black book, linen cover, so all very, very... I didn't want to cut down on those expenses because I really wanted to make this and give the fans who buy a book the best product possible. So, yeah, it's going to be only pictures. Like the foreword is the most of text that you'll see. For the rest, it will be just the full-size page will be pictures, 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 the one picture after the other.
So now that we've covered the artist's idea, the artist's direction within this collection, what's very important to me, and I hope to you as a listener, is to understand what goes through the mind of the person who's being photographed, what goes through the mind of the person that's in costume and portraying these emotions, these sort of outlooks and reflections on an emotional state or a period. And so here is me talking to Charlotte Wessels of Delain about the photo shoot with Tim Tronckoe. How did you get involved with Tim and his photo shoots and basically this collection called Portraits?
Well, Tim and I have been running into each other on like multiple festivals and gigs from. I think it must be like the last 10 years or so. So, and we've done a lot of like impromptu, spontaneous shoots here and there, and they always turned out. A lot of them were like, okay, we have some minutes before the show, and often those would be like spectacular photos. So. I've known Tim from a lot of shoots like those over the years, and from hanging out at festivals and gigs. So I was very excited when he approached me to to take part in this project, because next to the fact that I know Tim, and I know that he's a very good photographer, I really like the concept. Like I studied art history, and I'm very much a geek for all these period things, and I really like the idea that this book is just art for the art, kind of.
Yeah.
So I was just excited when he approached me and asked me to be part of it, and was very impressed by how he arranged everything. It was a really fun experience to be part of it.
Very cool. And a lot of the pictures in the photo shoot, they're very scenic, and the lighting of them is very classical in the way that obviously the old artists would have done it, as Tim sought out to do. But what I was wondering about your photo shoot was there a particular concept that you were both looking to depict, or what were the costumes like, and did you end up achieving what you both set out to do in the end?
I think that also with the lighting, this was a very elaborate shoot. It took place in a very old, beautiful building. And it is the type of building that someone could have painted a picture like that, hundreds of years ago. And the lighting, because in a lot of rooms we used, the lighting from the windows was also a big part of it, Yeah. And that would have been the same. I think that that's very interesting. Of course, you need specific artificial lighting also to enhance it and to make it look good on a photo as well. But I think in a lot of ways, for me at least, being in that building and then being in the clothing and then being in that hair and makeup as well, kind of that is a process that takes the hair and makeup, dude. That's a process that takes that takes multiple hours, and in that time you kind of also transform into that situation. Like you're in that building, you get into the music, like your posture changes from being in the corset. You kind of have to keep your hair up, so you kind of lengthen your neck to keep everything straight. I think that those very surroundings and the fact that you're so much immersed in those period clothing and hair and makeup, it kind of helps you transform into someone that might be in a painting like that. Because I myself, I'm not elegant and gracious at all, but it was very easy to transform into that, being in those surroundings. So, for me, being the one who is photographed, the whole process kind of helped with that. And I think for Tim, he's done, I make it sound like natural, but he's done, of course, a lot of work behind the scenes to make it work like that. Because in order for a day like that not to be stressful, there needs to be so much arranged. Like he had wonderful assistants on all sides. He arranged everything on the side. There were decor pieces, and so I don't want to make it sound like it was easy. Yeah. But he did make it easy for me to kind of become that person. So, yeah.
Very cool. And was there any particular part that of the shoot that was your favourite?
I mean, for me, there was this very big hall, and in the end, we spent some time kind of just twirling through the hall, which is, I mean, I don't know if you know the Chris Cornell song. It doesn't remind me. It's so much fun because it doesn't remind me of anything. Like it's. I think that was very special because it was at the end of the day, and the shoot was already successful, already almost a wrap, and that was just a bit of fun. And when I see the footage of that, that makes me very happy.
Very good. And have you seen any of the other pictures included in the collection yet?
Yes.
And is there any ones that you've seen that really sort of spark your interest?
Well, I really love the shots from Elisa and Simone as well. Also partly because I know the work that's got into that with the dresses that were made especially for them, which is so impressive. Simon did a great job on that. And I think both of those shoots look great. I also think that Elisa's hair is such it's so much fun because it stands out so much because everything is to the point, like how it would look in those times. But then she has blue hair. That's something that's really, really visually interesting, and it's a wonderful kind of anachronism in that sense. So yeah, I really love those, and then I also love some of the because some shoots were like shoots of a day with a lot of preparation, but I know that also some shoots were like arranged at shows in smaller spaces with artificial lighting, and of course that's a very different ball game, but I really like the fact how he kind of ties that all together, because these photos were taken, different parts of the world, very different methods, and somehow he created a collection that fits together, which I think is very impressive.
Very cool. Very interesting stuff there from Charlotte about the whole photography day and also the shoot itself and the preparations that went into it. And now to sort of elevate and to expand upon her insight, I spoke to Agnete Kjolsrud of the Norwegian hard rock / black metal infused band Djerv about the photo shoot and her experiences of the actual day itself, how it came about, and her relationship with Tim too. Here's me yet again talking to Agnete Kjolsrud of Djerv. So how did you get involved with Tim's photo shoots?
He sent me a mail, I think it's 1.5 years ago or something. Yeah. Or maybe approximately 1 year ago.
Oh, right.
I think. I was actually I've been away from the music industry for 5-6 years now.
Yeah.
So I was actually not ready. I had said no to a lot of different stuff, but when he contacted me, I felt that there was something. I felt that it was a good thing to try to be a part of, because I didn't know if I actually could do it, because I wasn't very well at that time.
Right. Okay. And then.
Yeah.
No. You keep going.
Yeah, it was the fact that it was for for young people's health and their issues.
Right.
And also I looked up his pictures, and I thought we could do something good together. Mm.
Very cool, very cool. And then looking at the photos, like the actual pictures have come out really well. They look amazing, and there's a lot of work that goes into creating those type of photos. So when you went to go for the photo shoots, what was the day like, and was there a lot of preparation that went into the day itself?
I got picked up at the airport by Tim and Simon, and we actually fell a little bit in love with each other. Because I mean, I have got friends for a lifetime after just one night there.
Oh, very good.
You know?
Oh.
Because they had to pick me up because of some issues with the airplane and things. They had to pick me up in Amsterdam.
Right. Okay.
So we drove for 2 hours in the car, and we talked a lot about all different things. And I felt that it was a very good, we had a very good talk, but I also could see that especially Simon, was doing research for how I could do well in studio the day after.
Right.
So when I came to the studio, I knew why he had asked me those specific questions the day before. Nothing was a coincidence for them. They were very pro, and they treated me like a queen.
I guess that's exactly how you want to be treated for those sort of jobs.
Sorry?
That's exactly how you'd like to be treated when you're doing that sort of thing.
Absolutely, because, you know, it's to do a really good job, you have to be treated well so you can use your energy on the artistic things.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And I guess when you and Tim were doing the photo shoots, was there a particular vision that you had that, like, you wanted it?
If there were particular
vision.
I didn't really get you.
Sorry, is there a particular, when you and Tim decided to do the photo shoots, was there a particular vision that you wanted to have for your pictures, or was there something you wanted to achieve out of them?
Yeah, we had been in contact the whole time, talking about the outfits that I should wear, and in the beginning when he talked about going into the costumes and stuff, it was very important for me to be a part of the process of picking out what I should wear, because in one first of all, I'm a little bit how do you say it? I'm a little bit control freak on things when I'm not. When I don't have the control, I need to get the control. Yeah. So I needed to know that that my stage character and also my private character could be proud of the outfit and the costumes that I was wearing, and that it would fit my personality. You know.
Perfect. Okay. Cool.
So it's so therefore it was not an idea for me to have corsets and a lot of skin and those things.
Right.
But also because I'm a little bit androgyn, is that what you call it?
Yeah.
Yeah, androgyn. Yeah, because I'm a. Therefore, it's important for me to be strong at stage.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So I don't like to be too vulnerable on stage. But Tim, he had also, when I came there, he had also done a lot of preparing on which we also had been talking about, in which kind of setting I was gonna be portraited in, and what kind of moods and stuff. We tried out different things, but also it was when we tried out the stuff. I remember one on his team said, "I've never seen you like this before." She said, "I've never seen you so happy." Because it's I don't know. It's I feel that I'm actually in private. I never look good on pictures. You know, I always look stupid on pictures. Therefore, it's really important to pose.
Well, I don't think you've come across stupid in the pictures. Like, your pictures are very cool. Like, and they are, like, as Tim said, you're so animated in them that your persona comes across, and it makes, like, to see how sort of, because it's sort of like a mix of different emotions that come across. Like, it's ecstatic, it's a mix of that with sort of anger, and it really comes across. So it's very easy for, when I was looking at them, it was very easy for me to know the emotions that you were portraying in the pictures. Yeah, so
that's good.
Yeah, so I guess it worked out in the end for the photo shoot, because it's been very successful if you look at the pictures by themselves.
Yeah, I think so too, actually.
Yeah, I
think so too. I'm very happy with it, and I think the important thing about it is, as you said, that you're treated well on this kind of things. That you feel how do you say it, secure, or you feel good in their presence.
Yeah.
And that you feel important for them. You know, that it's that they appreciate that I had taken the flight. You know, 1 year before I didn't dare to fly any place. So it was very good for me to know that I could do this.
Yeah.
And I remember actually Simon also said when they drove me back to the hotel, and we were quite tired of the whole day, and he said something about art. And what you did today was art, or something like that. And those things also, when you meet people that really appreciate what you do and stuff, you want to do more. You want to give more. You know.
Yeah.
And you believe more in yourself, and you believe more in what you do, and you suddenly understand why you're doing the stuff you're doing. You know?
Yeah.
So, it's like when they can see how we work together, when they can see how we work together on the set, it's like when a person comes up and say after a concert that they can really know that I'm using a lot of technique when I sing, instead of just saying, "Oh, you're the screaming lady," you know. they know what they're talking about.
That was our Tim Tronckoe special there. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to pick up your own copy of the Portraits Collection book, then you can of course find it on Tim Tronckoe's website. They're currently going into their second printing. And now on to our teaser for MonSTARs of Rock, the LORDI Story. This week features Amin Ra, one of the founding members of LORDI, and on this teaser you will hear him talking about his first meeting with Mr. LORDI going on the KISS cruise to Stockholm.
We are huge KISS fans.
Yeah.
KISS, yeah. So, as a small country, Finland is not so surprised that even without social media or these mobiles nowadays or whatever, network, internet, it's not surprised that you find people who are on the same level as you are.
Yeah.
So I was talking with Mr. LORDI like many years before I met him first time, and all talk was related to the KISS.
Okay.
So KISS fans in Finland, we have hard KISS fans, like, I don't know, 20 people, and Agnete was one of them, and even one of them, and they still are. But then, next few years, one is living, Mr. LORDI was living in Lapland, and I was living in southern Finland, and it's 1,000 kilometers.
Right.
Distance.
Yeah.
So then KISS happened to play in Stockholm, Sweden, and there was a organized trip from KISS Army Finland was organizing trips to there, and Mr. LORDI was kind of in charge of it. And first time we met at the railway station, I still remember it. He looked so scary. All the letter and stuff and everything. And I'm like, oh my God, who's this guy? So, and it was 1996. And we went to Stockholm, and I don't know, the cruise is like 12 hours, 20 hours maybe. And we got along really well. And actually me and Mr. LORDI and Kita were the only guys who went to Gothenburg as well, to South Sweden, to see another KISS show on the trip. And the rest of 300 people went back to Finland. And at the Gothenburg thing, we got to know each other really well. Well, not really well, but better. And then we came back to Finland, and between 1996-97, Mr. LORDI moved from Lapland to southern part of Finland, and because he didn't know.
In a Midwest part of Finland lies a town called Rovaniemi, a town known for the Northern Lights, Santa Claus, the Arctic Circle, and reindeer. But little would people know that during a night in 1992, an 18-year-old boy was asleep, dreaming. He envisioned a skeleton, a ghastly one, on stage, dressed in leather with a top hat, and he was playing guitar to a deafening crowd. This dream would change the boy's life, the way people looked at Rovaniemi, Finland, and also heavy metal as we know it. By creating monsters that played heavy riffs and catchy choruses. A legend was born. Brought to you by True Metal Podcast, a documentary series on Finland's very own monsters, LORDI.
Would you love a monster man? Could you understand beauty of the beast? Fire at will!
Featuring interviews with members of the past, such as Kita.
LORDI's been there like 20 years.
Yeah.
So they are already legends. You know,
exactly.
In every way you look at it, they are legends.
Yeah.
And just do what they do.
Kalma.
Yeah, actually, it was pretty fun. I enjoyed that. That never bothered me at all. Those costumes and makeups and all that. That was part of the plan, and I knew it from the start. And I was so into it back then, and I'm still into it because I still think that LORDI is a great band.
And current members like Eamon.
At some point, we realized, and our future manager realized that, guys, keep it simple, and then Get Heavy came out. And I remember that time Magnum was there, and Mr. LORDI and me, and we were like, this is it. Get Heavy. That's the song.
Okay.
This is LORDI. This is LORDI. Now it feels good.
And of course, the emphatic Mr. LORDI.
Whoever claims that they heard the Maple Market any of the songs, they are lying, because there's probably, I would say, there's less than 10 C-cassette copies of existing of that. And I have the master at home, so I know that no one has.
With many more guests from the past, present, and those closely involved with the band. MonSTARs of Rock, the LORDI Story, will delve into the history of a band like never before. A documentary that fans want and that the band deserves. Coming July 2020 on all podcast apps. Follow True Metal Pod on Instagram and Twitter to keep up to date with the production.